Okay, so I just got back from the beach, and I know what you're probably thinking. Why in the world did I just got back from the beach, and that why did I not get back from a football match like I said yesterday? Well, what happened is that I was going to go to a football game. I was going to do the Sports Hop series there, but unfortunately, the traffic basically denied me. I was stuck in traffic for literally an hour, and I knew that if I continue and attend this match, I would have missed the entire first half. And I didn't think that I should just do a Sports Hop series where I just go to the game and show you guys footage of just one half. I mean that obviously is not going to be very exciting, and I don't think a lot of people would even watch that. So I decided to just go to a beach and watch the two other games that I did not watch today. I did not watch the Peru versus Denmark game and the Argentina versus Iceland game live today. So I watched those, and here we are. I just got back from the beach, and I was watching those games on the beach. Now, in terms of how today's win and in terms of the action of today's, let's just say that things definitely calmed down. I mean, the last 2 days, it's been filled with drama. It's been filled with just some crazy things that has happened. But today, it kind of calmed down a little bit. Although you did have probably one of the biggest upset in World Cup history happen, and you also have a very controversial call in this game between France and Australia. Which, since we're talking about it, let's actually talk about that incident. So basically, right around the 58th minute in this game, Australia conceded a penalty. The penalty was because, well, the Australian defender basically brought down Griezmann in the box, and that was a penalty. Now, originally, it wasn't actually called a penalty. The referee actually didn't say that was actually a penalty and didn't even point to the spot. But then he basically go to the video monitor, and this is actually the first time that we have seen any referee done that up to that point. And the referee, of course, checked the monitor. He took like 3 to 4 minutes to check it, which is incredibly long amount of time to use VAR, and he overturned it. He overturned the decision. He says that that was actually a penalty, and let me just say that a lot of people was absolutely fuming about it. It wasn't just Australian fans that were fuming that was not a penalty. It was everybody that watched this game that says that that was clearly not a penalty. Now, originally when I look at that incident, and you better believe I actually look at that incident a lot of time. I actually look at it probably 15 to 20 times. I don't remember, or I didn't really keep count of how many times I actually look at it. And originally, when I look at it, it looked like that was a stone cold penalty. It looked like that Australian defender never got anywhere near, never got anywhere with his feet to the ball. But then when I look at much closer with slower kind of motion and just kind of like zoom in, it did look like that Australian defender just got a slight touch to the ball. And when I mean slight touch, I don't really mean the fact that he kind of like just kind of deflected off of his toe, but just kind of a little brush onto the ball. And even though it didn't look like that might be enough to say that that defender actually won the ball. One thing that what people don't get understand is that originally the call of this play was that this was not a penalty. So in order for this to overturn, it has to have some clear and obvious evidence that the player that the Australian defender did not get the ball. And when you look at it closely, I don't think there was clear and obvious evidence that that Australian defender did not get the ball. I mean, if you look at it very fastly, then yes, there was clear and obvious evidence, but they when you look at it in a slow motion, and I'm pretty sure the VAR room actually look at it in a small or not small, but in a slow motion too, and it just feels like that defender did just get the slightest touch to the ball, and even though it kind of didn't look like he got the ball, it there was not enough clear and obvious evidence. It was kind of like a 50-50 kind of call, which is definitely not clear and obvious. So in some way that shouldn't have been a penalty, and I understand why a lot of people were not happy with it, and that pretty much just summoned a lot of people that are clearly against VAR, and they basically just kind of like speaks into full volume on social media after this incident. But yeah, that was obviously a little bit unfortunate for Australia, but the good news is they did get a penalty about 4 minutes later because they can thank Umtiti, who decided that, you know, I'm not going to play football. I'm actually just going to play volleyball for a second, and I'm going to just raise my arm up to try to punch the ball, kind of like doing a Maradona-esque kind of hand of God moment, and hopefully I can get away with that, thinking that, you know, Maradona did it, I can do it too. But I think that Umtiti didn't realize the fact that, one, the referee actually got a good view at it. He was actually in a good position to look at it. And two, we have VAR now. I mean, if you did it maybe, like, let's say 20 years ago, then maybe that is sort of okay, although that is still considered cheating. But with how advanced now the game is, and how they're using advanced technology to try to catch all those kind of cheating moments, like what happened with Umtiti when he trying to punch the ball in the air, you know, I honestly don't know what was he thinking, and that was just an absolute stupid play by him. And Australia, of course, take advantage of that with Jedinak scoring the goal in the 62nd minute. And, you know, looking at this whole game, let's just say that France in this game, they were absolutely horrible. Like, a team that had so much talent on this team, and the amount of world-class player on this team, and the fact that they're able to just barely scrape across the line and get probably one of the most ugliest win in World Cup history against a weak Australia team, yeah, you better believe that there must be something wrong with this French national team. And there is. And I really think that probably the biggest problem right now is the way that this team is set up, and how it just feels like when I look at the way this team set up and the way that this team is playing today, it almost felt like all those players didn't know each other. Like, it was just a complete 11 players that probably have never played each other, but they just gather around as a team in a World Cup game against Australia. And not surprisingly, they didn't really do much in this game whatsoever. In fact, Australia, in my opinion, threatened France definitely more than I expected, than what Australia would be in terms of them threatening that French defense. And that French defense at times looked very, very shaky. But the bottom line is, the attack was just absolutely destroying it. There was just no movement whatsoever in terms of the attack, and the final ball was just absolutely poor, and just players not making the right decision whenever they go on the attack. It was just an absolute awful performance. And the only reason why France got a win was because Pogba basically just did a little chip ball that I thought for sure that was going to actually go wide and go high up toward the goal, but that ball kind of like bounced off the post, and then it bounced right back to the ground, and by the time when the ball bounced right back onto the ground, it just cleared over the line. And it was a goal that was very similar to what happened in 2010 between England versus Germany. Remember the Lampard ghost goal where Lampard hit the ball off the post and the ball bounced right across the line, and that it was never given, and that was probably the reason why we had goal line technology nowadays. Well, that is exactly what happened, and, you know, certainly that was a very kind of fortunate and very lucky kind of play for France. and that has to be absolutely gut-wrenching for Australia. And I really felt for Australia in this game. They clearly did not deserve to lose in this game, and in many ways, I think they not only deserve maybe a point out of this, but even maybe all 3 points in this, because really the goal that scored by France, one of them probably should have never happened because of the controversial penalty call, and the other one was just a lucky shot by Pogba that just unfortunately bounced it over the line, and Australia just conceded a goal that was just very unfortunate. So I definitely feel for Australia, and one thing I will say about this Australian team is that if they can keep playing like this against other opponent, then I think they definitely have a chance to make it out of the group. I mean, as of stand right now, I still think France will make it through the group. Hope that maybe this is just a one-off by France where, coming into a tournament, they probably are still sort of figure stuff out. And I have heard the media talk about how this French team and how their manager Didier Deschamps was still trying to figure stuff out, and it just showed that it looked like they was kind of unprepared for this game. And maybe in the next game they will be a little bit more prepared, and certainly they will start to figure this out and get things going. But really, for Australia, if they can continue to play like they did today, then they are gonna really give a big scare to Denmark and Peru. But the thing about Australia is that can they keep that up? Because we have seen before where the smaller team, and in one game they were able to get a surprising kind of resort. Well, in this case, it wasn't really a resort for Australia because they didn't get anything out of it. But they got a surprising resort, and then in the next two games, they completely falter. So that is something that Australia hopefully will not do. And I still think that this team really lacks a striker on this team. It's pretty clear that even whenever Australia go on the attack, they don't really have a lot of big threat going forward to potentially give themselves a goal in a game. But, the bottom line for this game is that France, if they continue to play like this, and that if this is not a one-off, you better believe that they potentially could be knocked out of the group stage, like what they did in 2010, and that Deschamps can basically just say goodbye to the French national team, because he's definitely going to get the sack if this team get knocked out very early on. But yeah, moving on to the next game. As I mentioned, this was probably one of the most surprising result and one of the biggest upset in the World Cup. And despite the fact that everybody says that, I don't. And the reason why I don't think this is a big upset is because I said it in the preview. I said that I wasn't, if this ends up in a draw, I wasn't going to be very surprised. Because there is just something about this Icelandic team. And I think after watching this game, I kind of start to figure out why this Icelandic team is just kind of like the giant killer against the big team. Is because this team is just so cohesive, and that they are just so defensive organized. They're probably one of the most, if not the most defensive organized team in the tournament so far, that it doesn't matter which team that they face, and it doesn't matter how hard the opponent that face, their opponent will always find it hard to try to break them down. And one of the things that Iceland do very well is that when they do have the ball and when they do go on the attack, they make every bit of that attack count. They will create dangerous threat, and there was definitely a couple of chances where they could have easily took the lead early on in the game, or even retake the lead after first get an equalizer and maybe retake the lead when the game was tied at 1-1. But unfortunately they didn't get that. And Argentina, the big story of this game, I think, besides the fact that Iceland with a surprising 1-1 draw against one of the best team in the world, the big story of this game is going to be Messi missing the penalty. And right after when he missed that penalty, social media literally immediately create an argument about who is right now the better player. Is it Ronaldo or is it Messi? And let me just say for the record, I'm not going to say who is actually better, because if I say that Messi is better, then the Ronaldo fanboy is gonna literally put hate in the comments. And if I say Messi is the or Ronaldo is the better one, then the Messi fanboys is gonna comment and start hating me in the comments. So I'm not going to have that discussion. And if you want to have that kind of debate, you can let me know in the comments below, and you can debate with other kind of rival kind of fanboys to talk about it. But other than that, that was certainly a big miss by Messi. And it's not the first time we've seen Messi miss a penalty in a big spot. We've seen this happen a lot of time, and this also kind of makes me wonder, do Argentina eventually have to have a situation where when there's a penalty that they've been given, and they're in this very big spot of potentially that penalty can either give them a big equalizer or give them the lead, that they would ask somebody else to take the penalty besides Messi. And as crazy as that might sound, if you look at how Messi has done in terms of taking penalty in big spot, it is not very good. It is really, really bad. And that obviously is going to be definitely up to the Argentine manager Jorge Sampaoli. And that's definitely going to be a really bold move, that next time if there's a penalty kick situation in a big moment, that he decided to change the penalty kick ticker and not let Messi take it, and maybe Aguero will just kind of take that, or Di Maria to take it. But that's just something that maybe they need to think about, and certainly something that simply can think about it. But in many ways, this certainly is a game that will really help Iceland. And now the confidence after getting a draw against Argentina, and really this is bad news for Argentina, because after this draw, yes, they do play some more easy team like Croatia and Nigeria, but the fact that now you are now already behind a couple of, well, not a couple, but you're already behind the one team that actually won their group, which is Croatia, and the fact that you still have to play against both of them, which originally I said that they were very kind of easy opponent. They're not. They're not very easy opponent, and they are part of this group of death where each of these opponent is going to really put them to the test. And I believe that maybe Croatia and Nigeria will maybe take a page out of Iceland and use that as a way to try to set up to when they face Argentina later in this tournament. But for Argentina, this is a bit of a sticky situation, and certainly they could have easily avoided those sticky situations, have Messi not missed the penalty, and the fact that they could have just put away one of the many shots that they had in this game. I mean, Argentina had a lot of shots. They were pretty much dominating this game. They were pinning Iceland back for majority of the game, and yet they just could not put more than one away in this game. So it's going to be interesting to see how they will do in terms of the next game, and how they can recover from this surprising result against a lesser Iceland team. And like I said about Iceland, I really think that after what I saw from that performance, they might make it through to the next round. And like what I talk about Australia, I just hope that this is not going to be a team where after they win one game, they're going to flame out after the next two games, which I don't think it's going to happen. I think this Icelandic team, there's no way in the world they would just flame out in their next two games and just completely get destroyed by Croatia and Nigeria after how dominant and how organized that defense is. It was just absolutely unbelievable. But moving into the final two matches, Peru versus Denmark. Denmark, of course, winning 1-0 over Peru. The only goal was Poulsen in the 59th minute, but Peru should have won this game. I mean, Peru was by far the better team in this game. They had more of the opportunity in this game. And, you know, yes, Paulo Guerrero did not really play for the whole game, and he did come on as a sub. And I think as soon as he come on as a sub, this Peru team looked so much better, and they were really threatening against Denmark. But the bottom line is, and the old football cliche, if you don't take advantage of your chances, if you don't put the ball into the back of the net through those chances, then you will never win a game. And, you know, Denmark certainly caught them on a sucker punch with Poulsen scoring that goal. And, you know, Kasper Schmeichel pretty much putting a kind of world-class kind of goalkeeper kind of performance, kind of like channeling his inner Peter Schmeichel kind of way, and just completely took a book out of his father in terms of this performance, and he just stopped every single shot that Peru trying to challenge them. And, you know, for Denmark, certainly they're pretty lucky to get out of this with a win, but at the same time, this is also a massive win for Denmark, because now they have 3 points. Now they're top of Group D in that group of death, and that now that if they can, in the next game, they can even just get a draw or get a win, then you could say that Denmark is through. And that definitely is bad news for Peru. And really, I think this loss, as dominant as Peru is, and as the fact that they probably should have at least deserve a point, this is a really bad loss for Peru, and this is a really bad situation they belong in, because now they still have to play Argentina and Iceland, and these two teams, you know that they are very hungry to try to get some points, and this is the team that I actually put them in second place, and I'm already having doubt to put them in second place because of that. But yeah, finally, moving on to the final game, Croatia and Nigeria. Croatia with a 2-0 win. Goals from Modric with the penalty and Thibaut with the own goal, which that originally it was ruled that Mandzukic actually scored that goal from the header, but it looked like on the replay that one, when Mandzukic basically hit that one in, it took a deflection off of Thibaut, and it looks like that shot was going off target, and that deflection helped it go back on target. So that is an own goal, and let's just say that this game clearly did not live up to the expectation. I mean, this game was a really, really boring game. There wasn't the first shot on target until like the 60th minute. I mean, both teams was so bad going forward. And all this talk about how the high-flying kind of attack that Nigeria has, and the same for Croatia. Yeah, where the heck was that in this game? Like, the only time that I've seen both teams look very threatening on the attack and show their kind of high-flying, kind of lethal attack was maybe for the first couple of minutes. But throughout this whole game, it was so bad in terms of both teams attacking. It just got so boring because nobody can really go on the attack and really create a good chance to potentially score a goal. So yeah, this is probably going to go down as one game that definitely did not live up to expectation, and probably the most disappointing game out of all the games so far in this tournament. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and I already did the preview for tomorrow's game. I did it earlier this morning, so make sure you guys watch that. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.